In the commercial break, we were talking more about unsolved murders and accountability. You guys kind of had some great things to say just about how it doesn't just take a family unit to hold people accountable, but it takes a village.
Yes.
Absolutely. I believe it takes family, friends, community, government, everything. Sometimes our laws are laxed when it comes to certain things. There's all kind of loopholes in our laws. So, you know, when you got a murder, you got one guy get 20 years. One guy that killed my son got 20 years, and the other guy got 8. So now, after 6 years, and my son's been dead 7, you got a guy still walking around.
Right.
You know, and I'm not here to say everybody needs life or everybody needs death penalty.
Right.
But when you're showing young people that, hey, we're going to slap you on the wrist when you know you've committed a crime, then what are they going to continue to do? They're going to continue to do the same thing. So, you know, us collectively, parents, family, friends, community, government, we all have to be on the same page. We all have to put in the same amount of work.
All right, Tony, I did not forget about you. You are now on the air, Tony. Do you have a question for us?
Hey, yeah. Well, you stepped on my thunder a little bit about the snitches get stitches, the lady on the left, and the man on the right with his organization for helping young men and accountability. And the woman in the center, I'd like to hear more about her personal story, but I was thinking about it on the commercial break, and what I really thought about when I was listening to you talking in the media and the TV and everything, and then lawyers and cops and everything, what do these people think when all this stuff is done and they're home alone, like sitting at home alone or with their family? Some people are alone or with their family, and then after this is all settled, I mean, what do, you know, after that? You're sitting at home and, you know, you might have an extended family or a small family. You might have an apartment. You might have a house. I mean, I don't know what I'm trying to say. But you know what I'm trying to say? When you're sitting there, you know, after this, just trying to think about this. Well, what do you think about that? You know what I'm trying to say? You know what I'm trying to get at?
Right.
I think you wanted to hear a little bit about your perspective more and your story.
Again, my son was 17. He had just graduated high school. He went to a Sweet 16 party of a friend of his that he had been knowing for years. And as he exited the car, some guys were shooting, and my son was the one hit. My son was hit probably 3 times. The guys that shot and killed my son, we knew. They were friends of his. One of the guys, his brother and my husband are best friends. They work together. So that aspect of our situation is kind of deep. Because when you're not knowing who people are, you know, you don't know their character, you don't know what they're all about, but knowing that these kids stayed in my house, I treated them like family, we done family things together, it's kind of a hard situation. And as to his question, what do you do? For me, and I'm not going to speak for Miss Nedra, but I know what her pain, and I know what she's going through. So on that perspective, when we go home, it's a thought that'll never go away.
Right.
You know, I still have to work. I still have a family. What I was not going to do, and I'm going to speak for her on this end, we were not going to let this defeat us, because if this defeats me, I have no purpose.
Right.
I have no purpose on this earth. I have no purpose to my family and my friends. I have no purpose to my community. When my son was murdered, the biggest thing was for me to give back to other people, because I understand the pain. I know what that feels like day in and day out, to wake up knowing that somebody played God and took, you know, my son, that he was just going to a party. Not that my son was perfect, not that he didn't have any flaws, but he was still a child that graduated high school. My son graduated with 32 credits, only needed 28. Very smart, outgoing, loving person, and knew a lot of people. So I understand the pain. So I always wanted this to be my driving force. And I know a lot of people will fold going through this situation. I was not going to do that, because if I did that, what I taught my son would have been in vain.
Right.
I never taught any of my boys, and I've got 4. and a grandson. I've never taught them to give up or let themselves down or anyone else. So if I don't fight now, and not only for my son, for Montanez, for every unsolved murder, for every murder that I come in contact with, then I'm not doing nothing. I'm not doing nothing with my life. So to answer his question, yeah, we do go home at night and we have sleepless nights. In 7 years, I can't tell you how many days I slept a good night.
Right.
I'm tired. I've went through a lot of medical things because I'm tired and stressed.
Right.
But that's not going to deter me from being a mother first, taking care of my kids and my family, and for fighting for our community.
For people sitting at home like that viewer said, and just, you know, they don't even have words to say because maybe someone they know was murdered or a cold case. How does the Partners in the Struggle, how do you guys help those people when they come to you and ask for aid?
I go to them. It ain't never been no situation where they, you know, every once in a while, 21 years, but I go to them. You know, I met Nedra 18 years ago.
Right.
She witnessed her fiance getting murdered.
Right.
This is her second time around.
Right.
And a lot of people don't know that. So her just sitting here right now is just, you know, it's God. You know, it's God's faith, it's His grace, it's His mercy. Talia, my daughter went to school with her son. And so my daughter called me telling me about her son. And so, you know, God knows how to intertwine, you know, what He wants to be as His will. To piggyback off of what Talia said and what the caller said, you know, I understand what the families are going through. You know, and I consider myself, you know, after all these years, I want to make sure that I'm coaching them the right way, because I know when you go through this, you know, you're that far from maybe going off the edge.
Right.
And I don't want them to do that. And so, you know, that's where I come in. You know, Partners in the Struggle, you know, we make sure that these families are not by themselves, morning, noon, and night. And Talia, you know, anytime she need to call, Nedra know, anytime you need to call, just for whatever uplifting you may need at that time, I'm there. And that's what you need to have, because it do get lonely. You know, family don't know how to deal with the death of this level of a murdered loved one. And then when you talk about unsolved, that's a whole nother layer. And so we got to put in work. And I know a lot of callers have been calling about, you know, the homes and the community, our kids, or what have you. Yeah, all of that is very, very important. And we almost put in work, you know. And if we do that, then I think we can see a change in this. But we're in it for the long haul for the families, and you know, this is what we do. And Talia, Nedra, like I said again, the families and the mothers and the fathers and everyone that our Partners in the Struggle has been affiliated with, these are my heroes, because you know, they are true soldiers, because I know that I haven't witnessed someone being murdered, but I walk in the steps with them. And so that was, you know, it makes us, you know, in a solid family unit, you know, we go through this bereavement together. So hopefully that answers this question for us, what, you know, the families go through. We in it with them. We in it with them.
Good point. We're going to send it to another commercial break. Please call us 615-73+. We would love to hear your questions.